Hello, this is Brian again. Welcome to part 3 of my Blue Jay Campground video. Again, of course. Yeah, basically. So, I know I've already mentioned it, but legit a Jeffrey pine right here. Full-blown large cones that don't have those large cones, but not as big as coulter pine. The cone scales have prickles that face down. So, and they don't have those giant claws that coulter pine has. Straight up again, vanilla smell, clear as day. I felt like I was in Angeles National Forest, San Bernardino National Forest. But no, I'm here in Orange County, California, looking at a mature, still fairly young, not a super old Jeffrey pine. It's definitely, the bark hasn't broken out in the wide plates yet. But definitely a mature, cone-bearing tree. So, since my obsession and craziness has been opened up, I basically had to go check out some of these other trees around here to make sure that I didn't smell vanilla coming out of their bark. So I basically had to sniff about 3/4 of the tree's bark along here. None of them had vanilla smell, so I'm assuming these are coulter pines. But I'm just can't believe right here in the middle of Los Pinos Potrero, there's a random Jeffrey pine. I just can't get over it. So basically, I've had to walk around checking out the other pines to see if there were any more. I suspect there potentially could be. Again, there's a cone. It's a pretty large cone, beehive shape, but that's typical. It's a typical Jeffrey pine cone. I don't see any indication of coulter pine DNA in any of these. So, but now we also got some other interesting pines around here too. There's an Italian stone pine over here, Pinus pinea. I believe that's an Italian stone pine. When they're young, they are kind of similar looking to Aleppo pines. Sometimes they can be kind of hard to tell apart until they get to more mature sizes and shapes. But I know they do plant some non-native pines. I mean, non-California native. Jeffrey pines, to my knowledge, are not known to be native here in the Santa Ana Mountains, but you just go to the nearest higher mountain range and they're a dime a dozen. Angeles National Forest, San Bernardino National Forest, Palomar Mountain's got a lot of Jeffrey pines. Cuyamaca. But yeah, then we got these other pines here that are also worth noting. This looks like a young Italian stone pine, but it also kind of looks like an Aleppo pine. Sometimes I say they're a little tricky to tell when they're young. Just following this little game trail here. Trying not to walk off trail, but this looks like an Italian stone pine here, young Pinus pinea. Yeah, they actually have seed cones on them. Yeah, these are Italian stone pine seed cones. They got the thick cone scales. So this is Pinus pinea. This is native to the Mediterranean, and they can get quite large. They can get up to 80 feet, maybe even taller in their native habitat in the Mediterranean. They can get very widespread crowns that are shaped like mushroom tops. Here in Southern California, they're usually lower when they're planted. They're usually lower. They start their circular shaped crowns lower, as opposed to the ones in the Mediterranean. You see they get really tall and they just have a little oval shaped crown at the top. And of course, this one is native right here. This is Pinus attenuata. This is the Knobcone Pine. It's native to the Santa Ana Mountains. They were planted here by the Forest Service in this area, where you'll find them actually growing native in these mountains is from North Main Divide Road, basically from about a mile and a half south of Pleasance Peak to about Agador Peak. So you got a couple miles of a small population of them, and they're actually, most of them are actually smaller than this. There are quite a few of them planted here. That's a knobcone, and that's a knobcone. So you see them planted here quite a bit here in this area. There are a lot more of them here in the Blue Jay Campground area. So they're here, all right. And they tend to be bigger than the wild population over by Pleasance and Agador Peaks. Those ones tend to be a lot more scraggly and short and more stunted, but very charismatic though. But then there are a few of them that are a little bit more vigorous, but instead of being really super upright and narrow like those, they tend to be kind of short and squat. Very interesting tree though. I love checking those out. But you can see why I really love this area, because there's just so much beauty here. Beautiful mountain meadow. What more can you ask for here in Orange County? A mountain meadow, oaks and pines. It's a beautiful area here. But also, it's pretty peaceful. Today's Sunday. I expected to be more people up and about after camping last night, probably just chilling over here. Also, another thing you'll find a little bit of here, not in abundance, but well, it depends on where you go. But some fall color over here too. I'm gonna zoom in because I'm not getting close to it because it's poison oak. You see the red leaves in the screen? That's poison oak in fall color. I know I've mentioned videos about this plant before. I'm going to get a little closer, but not much closer. That red, that beautiful pastel red, that's poison oak in fall color. That's what poison oak looks like in fall. And this is October 11th, so you'd expect to see a little fall color. So this campground is a pretty fun place to explore. There's a lot of cool stuff here. I've never, like I said in other videos, I never really camped here, but I come here a lot to explore and hang out and just enjoy the peace of the trees. And a lot of times I'll come here and use this as a starting point. I really highly recommend coming out here for a visit or a camp. Well, probably gonna start heading back to the car. Maybe find another spot. Maybe I can do a spotlight on trees on something else. But what I need to do first, though, after I shut down the video, is take some pictures of that Jeffrey pine and put it on CalFlora. To find a voucher of Jeffrey pine here in the middle of the Santa Anas is pretty gnarly. There it is. Yeah, I know I'm obsessed with that tree, but I mean, it looks more, like I said, it looks more like a coulter pine from a distance, but the clue's in the cones. But I guess this will conclude part 3 of the Blue Jay Campground area. Just get a nice pan out towards the Potrero, the meadow. I gotta come here in spring, hopefully after a good rainy season. Should have come here this past spring, but I didn't. But well, I guess that'll be it for this video. Beautiful California landscape out here in Orange County. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next videos.